Last week, the Chinese National Bureau of Statistics released its monthly survey on industry PMI. And that's the sentiment of purchasing managers in various industries in China. This is the official PMI of larger companies, not to be confused with other surveys. What was remarkable about it was the terrific recovery, which it shows in the Chinese economy, the terrific recovery in sentiment caused by the reopening of the Chinese economy and taking away all of those restrictions because of COVID. The first of the charts that we show you today is the manufacturing PMI, which rises more aggressively even than that of the total economy, from a low of 47 in December, and there was almost no growth in the Chinese economy anywhere in December last year. Sentiment rose to 50 in January, but 52.6 now. So it's higher now than any level of sentiment in manufacturing recorded in China last year. But it's not just the manufacturing sector where sentiment's improved in China. It's the non-manufacturing sector. Matter of fact, the non-manufacturing sector recovered aggressively last month. It's the non-manufacturing sector which has suffered through closure, even more than manufacturing and other areas. And non-manufacturing is really important because it shows all of those places in the services sector and all of those places of domestically generated demand that have to recover in the Chinese economy for recovery to be sustained. Then what we have is the construction PMI. And construction PMI is particularly important to Australia because what we export, our largest single export to China, is iron ore. Iron ore, of course, turns into steel, and steel is used for construction. So the acceleration of the construction sector would suggest an increase in demand for steel, increase in manufacturing steel domestically in China, and increase in demand for Australian iron ore. And what we can see here after bottoming out in December, the construction sentiment index rose from 54 in December to 56 in January and rose twice as fast as the previous month, kicking up to 60 in February, which is equal to the highest level recorded in the previous year. The services index also, we can see, is kicking. Most importantly, when we look at the total index or the composite index for the Chinese economy, we see that after a healthy recovery last month, it rises further to a peak of 56.4 this month, which is higher than any number recorded last year. This survey fits very well the estimates provided by the International Monetary Fund. It was after growth of below 3%, and 3% was the official growth number for China last year, but the IMF thinks that China actually achieved a lower number of about 2.7%. After that growth of 2.7% last year, the Chinese economy should accelerate to 5.5% growth this year. Now, that's not as rapid as the initial recovery back in 2020, but it's a very healthy and sustainable recovery, which suggests that there'll be quite a good demand for Australian resource and other exports to China this year, which is handy for Australia because we're in an international environment where the US is likely to fall into at least a shallow recession, certainly a major slowdown, and Europe is already slowing down. The UK is extremely weak. So where these other highly developed economies are falling into a very tough period this year, what we have is at exactly the same time the country which absorbs the greatest single group of Australian export, which is China, is going to grow at twice the rate that it grew last year. So that very much saves the Australian economy in this circumstance and makes a recession in Australia close to impossible.